What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I'm going to go over the trades that we took today inside the Discord, as well as the plan going into tomorrow. So this is what we looked like right off the open here. 30-minute time frame, 565 puts. What do we look like? We're sitting right at a key spot on the put side, and you can't really be bearish until this chart goes and crosses. So that was pretty much my bias until, just to see what happens. So, until this cross, I was pretty much bullish, and we were able to catch a long out of it. So if we go to the 0-day chart now, this is what we got. So if we go to the call, or no, not the call side, the put side, this is what we looked like. Nope, wrong ones. 6. Yeah, okay. So like I said, market's neutral because we're sitting at the 50 SMA, still haven't crossed yet. So this is what the puts looked like right off the open. We ended up reclaiming this 10, and that's not something I'm taking because that 30-minute chart is sitting right at the 50 SMA. So since puts are at a very key spot, this is not something I'm taking, and I'm waiting for this chart to go negative to go long. So we ended up breaking below the 50 right here, and this chart went negative, and this was the long that Colton called out to in Discord. I would have called it out if he didn't give it out so early, but yeah, that was a trade to take. 10's going below the 50, and we got a nice move out of it, and we ended up pulling right into the 50 SMA on the call side, which was where, I don't even know. This is not the call side. I'm on the wrong chart again. That's the put chart. It's 5. Okay, so yeah, we ended up pulling right into the 50 SMA on the call side, and you could have sold all of it right there. I held a little bit longer just because this 50 really wasn't down that hard, and we did break above it, and we got a nice move out of it, and I closed it all somewhere up in one of these like 3 candles here. But we ended up going and crossing here on the 0-day chart. This looked like a really good trade. Like if you took this, it was a really good setup in my opinion, because we ended up rejecting the 50 on the put side. Calls are crossing. This is a really good setup, and unfortunately, it didn't play out, but the good thing about this trade is it was a very, very small loss because the 10 went above the 50. The 50 curled right on this candle. That's your entry point, and then you could have exited this once the 50 turned down, and I exited on, I think, one of these 2 candles. I forget which one, but I was only down 10 points when I exited, and then, obviously, since that 50 went down, that was our cue to get out, and you can see what happened. It would have saved yourself from a big loss pretty much, or a bigger loss. And this chart went negative right here. I wouldn't personally, I'm not taking this, because if you look on the put side here, we were really close to the 50 SMA on the 30-minute, like off of that dump. So we ended up popping into this like 10 SMA area. Yeah, it had like a tiny bit room to go to the 50, but I mean at that point it's not even worth the risk. I was just looking for longs pretty much today, and that was the focus in my opinion. Even though we are neutral, that's what I favored. If this chart ended up crossing bearish, then we'd be focused on short, but that wasn't the case. And those were the 2 trades that I would have taken today, and I did take. So again, if you go to this 30-minute chart here on the put side, this is another trade that you could take. I don't personally take this type of trade that much. I usually focus on the 0-day chart, but I know Colton takes this trade, so this is like the only time you're not on the 30-minute or you take a trade not on like the 30-minute chart off the Friday contract. So this chart was going negative, so that pretty much means that that's a confirmation that we're rejecting the 50 on the Friday contracts at the 50 SMA. So I don't think I've ever went over this really before. It's something that Colton does take, so I'll throw it out there for you guys, and it is a trade that you could take. But I mean this chart pretty much aligned with the 0-day chart, so it's pretty much the same trade in a sense, but sometimes that won't always be the case. But since this chart was going negative on the 5-minute, the 565s, that confirms the rejection, and that's why we end up getting a nice bounce. And that was a nice trade that you could have taken, and those were the trades that I would have taken today. Anything else wouldn't even stick around for it because we are neutral, and that negative cross gave a load of points. 0-day cross, again, very, very small loss. I mean, you should be up at least 50 points on the day between those 2 trades. But yeah, I mean, it was a really good day. Other than the fact, that we chopped the rest of the day, for system-wise, it was a good day. System kept you green, and this is what we look like going into tomorrow. So again, we're going to be picking new contracts tomorrow because it is Friday, and that means new contracts get picked. You don't use the 0-day chart in 30 minutes, so we pick next week's contracts depending on the open. We're going to get the 565s or the 560s, unless we get a big gap down and we'll get like the 555s or something like that. But I don't know if that'll be the case or not, but this is what we look like. So the 30-minute chart is actually crossed right now. 10 went above the 50, 50's curling up. Only problem is we have news in the morning, so that could, impact what these charts look like. So, going into tomorrow, it's pretty much dependent on the open tomorrow, and this is why, I wouldn't really swing things overnight or like take a chance overnight on a trade like this, like swinging options, because we do have that news in the morning, and you don't want to be in a trade when there's like a key news event. It's a red folder hour before open, so wouldn't swing options in this case. But if we do remain crossed and we're 50s up hard, or we get above the 10, if we do gap down tomorrow, then this is going to look pretty good for a nice red day, because that we do have the hourly 50, but I mean, like, these higher time frames aren't really concerned for me. Like, okay, maybe the 2 hour would be, because it's all the way up here and it's sloped down super hard, but I mean, these contracts have how much to go, like 100% almost to get there. And then we also have the 4 hour 50, which is trending up, so I mean, that's not really that big of an issue. So, as long as this 30-minute chart is crossed, I'm not going to be opposed to taking any trades off of the 0-day chart. Like, these higher time frames, there's possible areas we could reject from. I don't necessarily take trades off of these higher time frame resistance areas, because a lot of times when we do get that 30-minute cross, the higher time frames ended up breaking if they're not sloped down super hard. Like, this 2 hour 50 could be a problem because it, like, how hard it is sloped down, like I said. So, tomorrow, if the market's bearish, what do we look for? 0-day cross on puts, 50 dip on puts. If the market, gaps up off of news and we don't flip bullish, okay, or we don't flip bearish, this chart's going to go negative right here. So pretty simple, this chart is going to come right back down and cross negative on the 30-minute, and that's going to push us higher, and we're going to look for a call cross. So great thing about the system, we have a plan for both directions. If it doesn't really matter which one we get, because we're going to get a setup either way, and that's the great thing about the system. You're not married to one side. If something else happens, you could easily flip your bias and catch a trade because the charts tell you so. You're not married to one side. It's like, oh, the market's bearish, but we're gonna cross negative, so to flip your bias. And that's exactly what happened. Like this week, the market was bullish, and then that 30-minute chart went negative, and that tells us, okay, the bulls lost the trend. This is probably going to go lower, and the 0-day chart gave that entry the other day. I think that was yesterday or the day before. But I mean, that's the great thing about the system. It lets you know when the bears or the bulls have it, and when they lose it, and you could position accordingly and know what to look for off of those moves on the 0-day chart. So that's the great thing about it. I mean, that's pretty much all I got. If you guys enjoyed, drop a sub. If you guys want to learn, join the cord down below. I'm telling you, best cord out there in my opinion. We got all the information on the system in there. If you don't want to pay, that's completely fine. The YouTube literally has everything you need. If you watch every recap, you'll learn from each video, and you'll pick up on things, and it's pretty much the same things every day. It's just about knowing what trades that you want to be taking each day. It's the most important thing. And also your psychology, if the market's not moving, why continue to trade, things like that. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed, drop a sub. I'm out. Peace.